What's up everybody and welcome back to another episode of Fallout 4 Mods Weekly. If you guys have never seen the series before, basically this is a series where I show you guys some of the best of the mods to come out each and every week for Fallout 4. This week was a relatively slow one. I think it was large in part due to finals week for different colleges. The vacation season is starting, so it's actually going to be a bit of a shorter episode, but that's okay because it gives you more time to actually play some of these different mods. With all that being said, if you guys do enjoy the series, I really encourage you to consider subscribing. Also, if you want to leave a like or a comment down below, with YouTube's new algorithm, that's actually one of the best ways to help out my different videos. But with all that being said, let's just jump right into it. So the first mod I do want to show you guys is actually a very big release for Fallout 4. This is going to be called the HUD Framework. Basically, what this is going to allow you to do is create different HUD widgets on your HUD. With the release of this mod, the mod author also did release a few widgets he did make himself, but really the ideology behind it is for a lot of different people to create widgets through this. And it's actually going to be available for both PC and console moving forward. You're going to be able to code different widgets for this, and it's actually not super easy to do for the everyday user, but fortunately we do have a massive amount of people in the Fallout 4 modding scene that will probably start creating these widgets instantly. So the two different widgets we do have are the companion status HUD as well as Holo Times. So Holo Times, the more obvious of the bunch. Basically, as you can see in the top left corner on my screen, you're going to have a clock widget that's going to show you the real time in Fallout 4 as well as where the kind of sun or moon cycle is going to be currently. So whether that be kind of rising, midday, setting, or the moon actually just in the sky. Obviously this is very useful because otherwise you're going to have to open your Pip-Boy, and knowing what time it is pretty useful again for some of the different shops and just a lot of other things. Actually, you don't realize how useful it is to have that on your screen. So on top of that, it also adds in the companion status HUD. So this one's actually even more useful in my eyes. Basically what this is going to allow you to do is see the HP, the AP, as well as how many stim packs your companions have. Right off the bat, this actually supports multiple companions, which is a really cool feature to have, especially because it's not necessarily a vanilla option in Fallout 4. So obviously the HP is pretty self-explanatory, how much health your companion has. The AP is going to again be kind of their stamina, if they could use empowered attacks or if they'll have the ability to run away since they don't actually use VATS. And then last but certainly not least, in my eyes, is one of the most useful features is the stim pack indicator. Obviously it's really helpful to know without having to talk to the companion how many stim packs they have on them at any given time. All around, this mod shows a lot of potential. I'm really excited to see what people develop for this in the future. I can think right off the bat of a number of different cool functionality options for this. I especially like how most of these are really minimal, like the companion status HUD. When you're out of combat, it'll actually just kind of fade out and disappear, not to clog up your HUD. All around, a very cool mod, and definitely one of those long-term mods that's going to be relevant for a long time for Fallout 4. So up next we do have Deadlier Deathclaws, and you might be like, hey, I've seen that mod already. Well, actually it did undergo a complete rewrite, so the mod author rebuilt the mod from the ground up, getting rid of most of the bugs and actually adding in a few new features in the progress. So large in part, what this mod is going to do is make Deathclaws a more reputable and more powerful force in the Commonwealth. So previously, Deathclaws being one of the iconic enemies in Fallout 4 weren't really that kind of powerful. You could take one down with relative ease, and they were without a doubt not one of the scarier creatures in the game. What this mod did was actually overhaul that, making them much deadlier. On top of that, it actually added in a bunch of new types of Deathclaws, actually kind of basing them off the vanilla types and doing different combinations of those. On top of that, it also retextures, it makes the sound a little bit better, and again, just makes them a much more formidable force. This definitely is going to be a good mod if you want Deathclaws to be a bit scarier. Probably not going to be for everyone, because Deathclaws are a serious force to be reckoned with, especially after installing this mod. Even on some of the lower ends, they will tear through some of your power armors if you don't have good upgrades on them, and you definitely have to be careful around Deathclaws going forward. So up next we have more smarter companions. So certainly an interesting name for a mod, but what does this actually do? Well, what this mod is going to do is assign different combat kind of styles to each of the different companions in the game in an effort to make them feel more unique and stand out from one another. So the AI is supposed to be improved, so they'll again perform a little bit better in combat overall, but each individual does have a certain way they will fight now. So for example, somebody like Dance will be a much closer range fighter. He's going to be kind of a close to mid-range fighter, considering he has power armor and is meant to be a little bit tankier. On the flip side, Preston, not having as much armor, is going to be much more favorable to cover, so they're going to be much more likely to look for cover and try and fire from cover rather than standing out in the open like Dance would. Dogmeat is meant to be much faster and do combat like a dog would, so he's going to be trying to run around some of the enemies and dodge some different shots while going in for different attacks from time to time. Deacon has been upgraded to actually be much weaker and frailer, but on the same time he does have a bunch of different stealth attacks, giving him a bunch of different bonuses that he will try and take advantage of. of. So basically now he will try and stealth and go for different sneak attacks on his enemies. So again, this is going to affect all the different companions in the game. Obviously, I only told you what a few of them do. After using this mod, even for a short while, you definitely notice a difference, and I definitely really like the difference. It gives each companion a little bit more of a personality, and it almost feels like a new perk they have or something, making them fight a little bit more different. Definitely worth a download if you actually use some of the vanilla companions in the game, and honestly, just a really cool mod overall. So last but certainly not least, we have the FalloutShock Apartments. This mod's going to add in a BioShock styled apartment into Fallout 4. So at the end of the day, this is really just a player home out in the middle of the sea. You're going to have a fast travel point after you swim all the way out there. There'll be a few different boats, as well as just kind of an interesting little way to get down to your brand new apartment. And then there you do have a very nicely laid out apartment with a ton of windows that is going to be totally submerged underwater. One thing I actually really like about this mod that other people may not like as much is the way it's laid out. It definitely feels like an apartment and not so much like a player home. Obviously those kind of go hand in hand, but some other player home mods kind of are laid out more with the player home ideology in mind, that being more practical and maybe not as good looking. So you'll walk in and have a bed and then have a shitload of storage space. This mod's not going to do that. You're going to have to use your storage space organically through some of the dressers and stuff like that. It genuinely does feel like it's someone's apartment as you're walking through it. It almost feels like it's laid out to be a lore friendly idea, and if you're a huge fan of BioShock or just want to have a cool place to sleep, this is definitely going to be a good apartment mod for you. So with all that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Fallout 4 Mods Weekly. Only 4 mods this week, going to be a probably shorter episode simply because, again, there wasn't as many mods releases, but I'm sure next week we will have some more exciting ones. If you guys did watch to this point in the video, comment Big Daddy down below. As always, thank you guys for watching again, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.